Hey, how's it going? DemonDriver here. I'm in one of my many insane asylums here in my house. This is one of 4 of them. Rubber rooms where I build RC airplanes. But this video is all about the taxi test and why I do it, and the improvements and the lessons that I learned from whatever problems I see in the taxi test. I then implement and make the corrections and make the improvements so that when the plane is finished and it goes for its maiden, it actually has a really good chance of getting off the runway. So the subject of this video today is right here, my customer's G650. The last time we watched the G650, we did the taxi test in my driveway of my house, and one glaring problem came up in this taxi test, and that was the fact that the EDF engine nacelle cowl intake inlets were too small. Well, as you can see, I have solved that problem, and I have added new, wider air intake inlets to the actual fiberglass molded nacelles. And what you can see here, obviously, is that the original intakes have been modified, and the intake inlets have been widened significantly to basically a little over 50 millimeters. The EDFs inside are multi-blade, I think 9-blade, 50 millimeter EDFs, and what we've done is I've added a wider inlet to the actual nacelle. And how I did that was I took a regular styrofoam cup, cut the bottom out, and cut the bottom lip off, and then like a ring, I then epoxied that right over the original inlet, right? Let it dry, and then took spackle, lightweight spackle, and spackled around the gap, sanded it smooth, and that's what you have. And look at the original inlets to what we have now. So you lose a little bit of that, you lose a tiny bit of the scale look, but in order to make this functional and have actual airflow, sufficient CFM ratio or airflow ratio into the EDF, you need to make modifications, and this was the necessary modification that had to be made. So let's go ahead and put this girl on the ground. Let's run her up and let's test her, and let's make sure that this test is going to work, and that this modification makes sense. And the batteries we're running in this test are 2 Turnigy Bolt 1300 milliamp 4-cell 15.2 volt lipos, 4-cell. They have a burst rating of 65 to 130 C, so very powerful little lipos, and that's what we're going to be running in this test, 2 of them. And that would be maybe perfect for a maiden flight on this plane too. Give you about a good 2 to 3 minute flight, and that's perfect for a maiden flight. All right, let's go ahead and run her up, and let's see how the new enlarged air intakes work with the 50 millimeter multi-blade Dr. Mad Thrust EDF. So let's go ahead and have our off-the-line power test. Now let's go ahead and look at the old power test, and let's compare. Alright, that was the old power test. You saw how she was off the line, pretty anemic, pretty pathetic. Let's go and see how she's doing now. Alright folks, going to full power. Oh yeah. That's a pretty big improvement. Okay, so these tests are looking good. She definitely has more power. The larger air inlet is definitely making improvement on the G650. Now, I noticed that we did half of the equation, but then there's the other half of the equation. That's the air going in. Now we got to deal with the air going out, and I did that. What I did was, I said to myself, okay, we made the improvements here, but now we have to make the improvements there, where the air is leaving. So what I did was I took two small plastic cups, and I went ahead and made the exhaust nozzles about maybe 25% larger. Now, 25% larger, but not making it unscale, and trying to keep the G650 scale. And that's the hard part. That's not easy. So let's go ahead and let's make another final power run up on our G650 on my customer's G650, and let's see how she's running. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at her off-the-line power, third test with the new exhaust nozzles. Let's see how much power she has now. All right, here we go. Going to full power. Well, I think that's a pretty resounding result right there. Well, let's see how she looks coming back in towards the camera. I think the improvements worked. I think the improvements of adding the larger intakes in the nacelles and the exhaust ports work perfectly, and you can see in the tests. You can see in the video that I think this works perfectly, and now she's generating more than enough power to get to V1 and have a successful maiden flight. How did I make this finding? By testing. By me making these tests and filming it for you guys and for Shane the customer, you can see how this all works out. And you can see why I do the tests. Had I not done these tests, I would have completed this plane, shipped it out, not being right, and the customer would have had to send it back to me and say, make it right and get it to the point where it can fly. This plane, with these corrections, will fly. The test doesn't lie, hence why I do the test. So, every scratchable airliner, fighter jet, and basically everything I make, I'm going to test. And a lot of it I'm going to film, and I'm going to put it here on this channel. So, this is DemonDriver. Thank you for watching, and Shane, this plane has got power. Take it easy, buddy. Guys, thank you for watching.